Laser sights can deter threats and aid in quick target identification, enhancing your ability to protect your family, home, and country. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
The number one national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. Gun Talk, available on iTunes and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for Android and iPhone. To be on the air with Tom, call us now, 866-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Righty. So glad you could be here. It is, in fact, Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham. I'm your host. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-A-GUN gets you in there. If you happen to miss a show, don't worry. You can always go pick them up. We archive all of them. You can pick them up, iTunes, Stitcher, a lot of different ways. Easiest way, honestly, is to make sure that you have the Gun Dealio app, free, it's free, on your smartphone, Android or iPhone. With the Gun Dealio app, you can download and listen to past shows, the current ones and past shows. You also get all kind of good deals on, guns, magazines, accessories, scopes, optics, etc., ammo, who knows what all. And you never know when a new one's going to pop up. It just pops up on your phone. Oh, yeah. The alert sound, very cool. We had to work on that one. So when you get an alert, it goes, shotgun racket. Oh, yeah, now we're talking. You save money. All right, so you can absolutely do that. If you'd like to join us here, 866-TALK-GUN. You know that I talk about training all the time. You know I talk about when you decide to not just carry a gun, but have a gun for self-defense, you need to become a student. You have to study this all the time. This is like a part-time job. There should not be a week that goes by that you're not saying, okay, what have I learned? What have I studied? Have I read something? Have I watched a video? Have I talked to somebody? Have I listened to a podcast? Have I listened to Gun Talk? What did I do to get better this week? Well, along those lines, we have a story for you. And joining me right now is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. Hey, Paul, welcome.
Thank you, Tom. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing your story. Give them a little bit of background. You're a not just a truck driver, but you actually had, I guess, a student truck driver with you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been driving for a little more than 14 years and been training for more than 12 people to drive trucks. And, back in February, this was the Friday before Valentine's Day, I had a student with me. Mm-hmm. And we were...
Go ahead. Tell the story, because it's a fascinating story, and there are lessons at every point along the way. So I'll just get out of your way. You go for it.
Okay. Well, we had just picked up a load in north central Iowa going down to Southern California, and my student was just about ready to get his own truck, doing fantastically, and I had no issues with him. He stopped in Omaha, just west of Omaha, to fuel. And this particular truck stop, we pulled in between two trucks to fuel. And the process for fueling is you put fuel in your truck, you pull forward so that if somebody else needs fuel while you're in getting your seat and stuff, they can get fuel, and then you pull out of the way, and the process continues. It's a lot faster way for a truck to fuel. Okay. Anyway, as we are getting ready to leave, he pulls forward like you're supposed to, and we end up in between two trucks. The truck on our right, as he comes back, pulls forward and starts to leave. And by the way, at this truck stop, you have to make a big, basically left-hand U-turn to leave the truck stop. Truck gets right in front of us and stops dead, blocking us in. Keith yells back to me. I'm in the bunk. I've been laying down and resting. As I said, Keith was ready to go. He was ready to get his own truck. And Keith says, we got a problem. And I stand up in the bunk. I'm right behind him. I can see what's going on pretty much around the truck. And the guy gets out of the driver's seat of his truck. The guy that had blocked us in gets out of the driver's seat and goes into the bunk. Well, I tried to get Keith to maneuver to get past him. There just was no way. We were going to end up damaging our truck or damaging another one.
Right.
So we're backing up, and the guy gets out of the bunk, comes back in after several minutes, comes back into the driver's seat, is waving his arms out the window and yelling at us, and my student gives him the one-finger salute.
Uh-oh.
And so anyway, this obviously makes this guy a little upset. He starts coming out of the truck and walking towards us, and he's obviously becoming a little unhinged. Keith yells at him, "Man, we got to go." He keeps coming. I assume my command voice and say, "Stop." And the guy keeps coming. He's right beside the driver's side of the truck. And Keith has stopped the truck. He set the brakes. We don't want anything to... We don't want an accident. We don't want there to be any way this guy could say we caused an accident, which is smart.
He's walking up to your truck. Right. He's walking up, right?
Yeah, he's walking up. He's right next to the truck. He's reaching for the mirror. He's going to climb up. My student's window is down. He's in the driver's seat, my student is. I can tell this guy's going to come up, try and come up and come through the window, and I yell at the dude at my top-level command voice as loud as I can, with as firm a tone as I can, "Dude, I've got a gun." And the guy stops. And he says, "You tell me that, I'm going bleep for nowhere." And he turns around and walks back to his truck. Well, I'm thinking, well, situation avoided. Let's continue trying to maneuver so we can get out of here and get on our way to California. Long story very short, that's what we do. And both trucks, the truck that had blocked us off, and we end up going westbound on I-80. We have a higher governor on our truck, apparently, than he did. We left him far behind, and everything was cool. I went back to bed. 30 minutes later, we get pulled over by the Nebraska Highway Patrol, and I get arrested. The other driver told the local deputies, apparently he won the race to 911. I should have called 911, of course, right away, but he called first and said that I had been outside the truck waving a large revolver directly in his face and screaming, "Do you want to die tonight?"
Okay.
And that was enough for the deputies to arrest him.
Well, yeah, it is. Of course, they've got a report of a guy threatening people with a gun. So here we go, and they're gonna, So now you get arrested. Tell you what, let's do this. I want to take a quick break here. Let's do that. We come back. I want to kind of like the rest of the story, the Paul Harvey deal. All right, so you get arrested, and now it gets real interesting. There are lessons to be learned here. You definitely don't want to miss this. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. We'll have the follow-up on what actually really finally happened when we come back.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the VADA Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. Dury'sGuns.com.
Hi, this is Sarah. A silencer is today's most popular firearm accessory because it makes shooting sports more enjoyable. You're able to wear little or no hearing protection, and it decreases recoil, offering greater shooting accuracy. It's perfect for hunters and those who want more social interaction during shooting sports. So why are you waiting? SilencerShop.com is easier and faster than buying one off the shelf because they handle all the details, and they have the largest selection of top brands. Visit SilencerShop.com to find a silencer for your firearm.
All right, welcome back. We're talking with Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. You can hear more of his work right there. It's Polite Society. What is it? Politics and Guns? Is that what it is, Paul?
Yeah, the original name of the show was Politics and Guns, and you can get there either through politicsandguns.com or through politesocietypodcast.com.
Okay, cool. So, all right, let me recap. So, you got this student truck driver. He's actually doing real well. We're at a truck stop. A guy in front of you blocks your way. He loses it, comes rushing over, starts to climb up on the truck. You yell out the window, "Dude, I've got a gun." He stops. He turns around. You think, okay, no harm, no foul. Let's go. You're driving down the road thinking this thing is over. All of a sudden, the police pull you over. He's called the cops and said you were out of the truck, waving a gun around and basically threatening to kill him. So now we're on the side of the road and you have gotten yourself arrested. What happened?
I spent 4.5 days in jail, and thank God that I have the Polite Society podcast. Everybody knows you get one call from jail. I called my wife. I asked her to keep it under her hat. I was embarrassed and humiliated and didn't want anybody to know. Thank God she knew better than me. She's a much smarter woman than I am. And,
they always are.
Yes, they are. And she started getting in touch with friends like Frank Fiamango of the New Jersey Second Amendment Society.
Sure. I know
And
Frank.
they started raising funds, and through a listener, the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network got involved, and Marty Hayes got involved. I was not a member at the time, but they did everything they could besides help me financially, which they couldn't do because I wasn't a member. But they helped raise funds, and they got me in touch with a top-notch attorney. And thank goodness, about a week and a half ago, I got a call from my attorney saying the charges had been totally dropped, that the state couldn't produce the guy to come back to testify even.
Now, let me just make sure everybody understands. The prosecutor was going to go full tilt. The prosecutor was coming after you with everything, right?
I was charged with terroristic threats, which is a 5-year felony, and commission of a felony with a firearm, which is 55 years. And yes, sir, they were going full tilt.
Okay. And when Marty Hayes got involved, all of a sudden you got the help that you're looking for. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, with the exception, and I do not blame them, they could not help me financially. They could not pay for the attorney. They could not pay my bail.
Right.
We were able to raise money to do that, but in every other way, Marty did everything he could to make sure everything turned out okay for me. He was the one that made the connection for the attorney, and he provided the attorney with a lot of resources, and he helped raise funds.
Yeah, they're good. They're just good people. And I will tell you, if you look at my wallet right now, there is a membership card to the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network just because of that. It is not overstating it, is it, Paul, to say you absolutely could have been convicted and gone to prison for this?
Yes, sir. Basically, my word against his, with the exception of there was video of the parking lot. But, the state was continuing with the charges. If I would have had just a regular, public defender instead of a rock star attorney, a very expensive rock star attorney. But if I would have just been a regular guy, yes, there's an absolute chance I could have been going away for a very long time. Having the right attorney is not just important. You could almost say it's almost everything. Assuming you've got a good case and
you didn't screw up. I mean, now there were a couple of learning points along the way here. I guess the first one, I'm just thinking out loud, and you jump in here, is number one, I don't think I would have yelled, "I have a gun." That's just not, I'm never going to the only time somebody's going to know I have a gun is if they see the gun. And at that point, it's because it was needed. I don't think I would have yelled that. And number two, and you already talked about it, was it really is a race to call 911, isn't it?
There is. The first person to call 911 is viewed by the dispatcher and the police agency, whether it be deputies or local cops or highway patrol. They are viewed as the victim, and it's a very high bar to clear to turn that around. And in my case, the bar never got turned. I never got over that bar. I never got the view turned around until the state's attorney finally totally dropped the charges. And it was over 6 months for that to happen. 6 months, 10 days.
6 months, 10 days with a lot of money. What do you know what it was that finally got the prosecutor, the state's attorney, to drop the charges?
My attorney said, and they were delaying and delaying and delaying. And my attorney finally went to the prosecutor and said, "We're done with the delays. We're scheduled for trial on the 11th or on the 25th of August. And we're going to object to any more delays. We're going to trial. You'd better be ready." At that point, they still couldn't produce the person that originally made the accusation,
charge,
and so they had to drop charges.
Were they trying to get you to take some kind of a plea so they could get out of it and they could get a partial win out of it?
That offer was made, but I refused it. I did nothing wrong, and I was not going to plead to something I didn't do. So
now, when you're talking to, can I assume at this point, Paul, that you actually now are a member of the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network?
You absolutely can assume that. I am. Both my wife and I, we have a family membership, and I have committed to renewing that membership for the rest of my natural life. I am so grateful for what Marty and Gila have done to help us out, and for awesome people like Masada Yub, like Kathy Jackson. They have our community has reached out so much to help so much. I will never ever let that lapse, and it's important. I tell people all the time now, you've got to be a member because I'm out. I'm not kidding you. Tens of thousands of dollars. It's north of between attorney's fees, bail, lost work, travel time. I'm out more than $25,000. We've raised fundraising about a little over $9,000, but I'm still, even with that, out a lot of money.
Yeah,
you've got to be a member. You absolutely have to be a member. I would still maybe have lost the time from work, but I wouldn't have had to come up with attorney's fees. They would have had the bail right there.
Right. And I have the family membership also. The other thing is, and people say, well, I don't really carry that often. This is not just for carry. This is for if you have to use a gun in self-defense, or in your case, you didn't even use a gun in self-defense, but you got charged with it. But it could be at home, and for those who don't know what we're talking about, if you go to armedcitizensnetwork.org, it's the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. It's not exactly insurance. Let's see. I'm looking on their website right now. Jim saying, how much is it's new members? It's $135 for the first year, and renewals are $95. And you can add somebody else in your household for $60 a year. So that's a lot cheaper than $25,000.
Oh, it certainly is. It absolutely is. If I would have been a member and would have been continued renewing my whole life, I would never have spent $25,000 on membership to ACLDN.
All right, so you obviously talk about guns and gun rights and all on the podcast. When you're telling people, what did you learn from all of this? What did you learn from all of this?
The two major ones that I have learned, and there's a lot of minor things that I learned, but the two major things that I learned is you absolutely positively must win the race to the telephone. You got to be the first person. When something looks like it's going to go maybe possibly bad, you got to be the first person on the phone. And the second is, even if it's not Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network, you got to be a member of some kind of organization that covers your costs in self-defense. The financial has been almost as bad as the worry over the felonies, the potential felonies.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be where you pulled a gun out. It can just be somebody yelled at you, and literally, and you walked away, got in your car and drove away. But then now they can call and say, well, this guy was crazy Looney Tunes. Even if you did not get into an altercation, if there's something weird, call 911. Get it on the record. You're the good guy. You're the aggrieved party here.
Well, and the other I used to be a big open carry advocate. I used to be a advocate of, because it makes a political statement besides. But you know what?
Yep.
My gun was never out, and he misidentified my gun. The gun I had was a Glock model 22/40 caliber. Mm-hmm. That's not a revolver, and he misidentified it, which is one of the tools my attorney had when we were going to begin going to trial. But what if I would have been open carrying and just some anti-gun person seen me in a truck stop? If I would have been open carrying and they could have correctly identified the gun I was carrying, yeah, that's and
you've changed your view.
I'm sorry.
You've changed your view. You've changed your view on open carry.
Oh, I have. I will not do it anymore. I may do it as part of a protest where there are a bunch of us peacefully walking around doing it. But in my daily life, the last day I open carried was the day before this happened.
Wow. Paul, I really appreciate you taking time and sharing this. I know it's not easy, but I know it's important to you to share what happened here. Just amazing stuff. If you would, please tell them again how they can hear the podcast.
We're anywhere you can find podcasts, with the exception of the Gun Dealio app. I'm jealous of you over that. But anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find us. Search PoliteSocietyPodcast.com, or you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever.
There you go. Paul Lathrop, thank you so much. I am glad you have survived this, not exactly unscathed, but certainly wiser, and sharing that wisdom with the rest of us. Thank you, sir. There you go. A lot of stuff there that I've been talking about for years. Be the first one to call 911. By the way, don't flip people the bird. What are you thinking? Don't yell at them. Don't shake your fist at them. Don't flip them the bird. Be Casper Milquetoast. Don't invite attention. Don't invite a confrontation, because it may not end up the way you think it's going to. Just ask Paul. When we come back, we'll be talking with the United States Congressman. You do want to hear this one.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, back with you. I know there's a lot of anxiety out there, as you've heard about the news through the Clinton administration, through regulation, wants to make gunsmiths register as gun manufacturers. And I've been saying, look, hold off, don't do anything. If you're a gunsmith, relax just a minute. Take a deep breath. I've been talking with the guys over at NSSF, working with them on this, and they said, look, don't register, don't do anything. We're working on this. Well, joining me right now to talk about that is United States Congressman, House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, who is working on this. Steve, thank you, and welcome back to the state. I know you were up in Wisconsin watching that miserable ball game. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Tom, I wish I came home with a different result, but it's good to be with you. Oh, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those who don't know, this was a guidance issued under the ITAR, International Trade and Arms Regulation, and there are some other things going on with that, but I see that you and Senator John Tester are on this. Where are we? What's going on?
Well, we all just started getting word when this guidance letter came out from the State Department, which in essence, as you described, would categorize gunsmiths in a way that the law, which they're trying to use, the Arms Export Control Act, doesn't intend. And they're trying to basically say that you have to be regulated as if you're an arms manufacturer if you're just making basic adjustments and repairs to a gun, which is not the definition of gunsmiths. And, of course, it would require gunsmiths to then pay a $2,250 fee to register, which for many people would be a big impediment as well. So we've called on the State Department to rescind this guidance letter, and we're also pursuing some other things, including a track that would move all of these regulations out of the State Department and over into the Commerce Department, because we're not talking about people who are making and exporting guns that would fall under this law. These are people that just do basic commerce around the country and shouldn't be regulated by the State Department. So we're pursuing a number of fronts and have over 100 members of Congress that signed on to this letter that I sent to Secretary of State Kerry to call on him to rescind this order.
And for those who don't know, under ITAR, basically it's restrictions on what can go overseas, and it's primarily for more advanced things, super radar systems and the spy stuff. But somehow our regular guns got under there, and a lot of stuff has been moved out of ITAR and it's away from state, and now it's under commerce. But state has been holding on to the firearms deal, and of course, in my conspiratorial mode, I think, they want to hold on to that so they can clamp down and restrict gun ownership and make it more difficult and more expensive. Am I being paranoid?
No, you're not being paranoid, Tom. We've seen an incredibly hostile attitude by the Obama administration towards gun owners, gun manufacturers, just the general basic tenets of what the Second Amendment means. I mean, they've tried to interpret the Second Amendment to mean it only applies to a militia that's controlled by the government, which is not what our founders intended, and that's been litigated all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Unfortunately, that Heller decision was a 5-4 decision, with Antonin Scalia being in the 5. So when you talk about just what's at stake in this presidential election, the fact that you could have somebody who's anti-gun replacing Antonin Scalia, something as basic as what is the interpretation of the Second Amendment by the Supreme Court, was only a 5-4 decision. Should have been a 9-0 decision our way. So the administration has continued their hostility. And they've, like you said, they've moved some of the different categories of regulation out of State Department over to Commerce. There's 8 different areas of regulation that they've moved. But of the 3 that remain, of course, firearm manufacturers is one. And again, they're trying to use this law to make it harder for somebody to be a gunsmith. It's clear what they're doing, and we're focused on stopping it.
Do you need any help from us out here? Do you need more people to contact their members of Congress to say, hey, get on board?
Absolutely. I mean, this is something that Congress is going to be continuing to push the administration on. And ultimately, this is either something that the administration will do or that we will fight out in the courts. We're also looking at some legislative remedies as well. But the more members of Congress that hear from people back home and say this is ridiculous, somebody who's a gunsmith is not an international exporter. It's like saying your car mechanic, if you go take your car to the local mechanic shop to fix a problem, should now be treated the same way as an automobile manufacturer in Detroit or somewhere else. It's just, it just doesn't make any common sense. So people ought to let their members of Congress know that the federal government shouldn't be treating gunsmiths as gun manufacturers and international exporters.
All right, one quick question for you. I'm not going to keep you long, but not very long ago, we had this amazingly bad bit of behavior on the part of Democrats in Congress of basically doing a sit-in about guns and they're basically pouting and shouting and all of that. And I see a story here that Paul Ryan may be saying, hey, we're going to reprimand the Democrats over this. What do you hear? And you're the majority whip. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, we've looked into all of the different violations of House rules that took place when the Democrats did this sit-in, and their intention was to shut down the entire House proceedings to force us to bring gun control bills to the House floor. And the first thing to note, Tom, is that we said absolutely not. We're not going to kowtow, and we're not going to bring gun control bills to the House floor. I'm opposed to any gun control legislation, but I'm surely not going to bring those bills to the floor just because they want to go and have some kind of tantrum on the House floor. And so we denied them what they were requesting. We can continue to move forward with the things that the people's business that we needed to take care of, but we're also looking into any individuals who broke House rules and having some real strict enforcement in place to hold people accountable if they do it.
Okay. Any timeline on that? When can we expect to see something?
There could be legislation as early as next week on the floor that would put strong penalties in place, because right now you really don't have penalties that allow you to go and hold people accountable for breaking House rules. And so that's going to change and as early as next week.
All right, appreciate it. Congressman Steve Scalise, he is the House Majority Whip, number 3 over there. Thank you for taking your time. I really appreciate it, and we got to work on those Tigers, man.
we do, Tom, but great to be with you. Thanks for getting the word out about standing up for Second Amendment rights.
Absolutely. You take care. All righty. Yeah, it was, Wisconsin won that one, and they should have. Sometimes it's just ugly. There it is. All right, we're open lines for you. 866-TALK-GUN. Would you contact your members of Congress? Say, hey, this makes no sense. Requiring gunsmiths to register as gun makers? All it's going to take is a call. 866-TALK-GUN.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at ShopGunTalk.com. Get prepared. ShopGunTalk.com.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with 1 shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to TimneyTriggers.com. That's TIMNEY Triggers.com.
All right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. We'll certainly get you in here. I want to revisit something we've talked about in the past, but it's when we talk about training and talk about competence, I want to revisit this because I think it is so interesting. Often I find people who have very little training in firearms and almost none, or maybe none at all, in self-defense with firearms. They haven't taken a real self-defense class. They may or may not have taken a concealed carry class. And they greatly overestimate their ability. At the same time, there are people who are very good, and they underestimate their ability. There is actually a study that's been done on this. It's well known. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it says that people who have little skill often overestimate, and those who have a lot of skill often underestimate their skill. But it goes further than that. It says incompetent people will fail to recognize their own lack of skill, fail to recognize genuine skill in others, fail to recognize the extremity of their inadequacy. That is, they don't even understand how bad they are. And let's see here. It goes further. This was the Dunning-Kruger effect the idea was formulated in 1999. But what's interesting is that you actually have this popping up throughout history. Here's some interesting quotes. Confucius says, real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. Bertrand Russell, one of the painful things about our time is that those who feel certainty are stupid, and those with any imagination and understanding are filled with doubt and indecision. Charles Darwin said ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. And if you take it way back, Shakespeare in As You Like It says, "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool." Line 2, Javon is out of Lyons, Georgia. Javon, welcome to Gun Talk.
Thank you.
How can I help? You got a range report for us?
Yes. I am a first-time gun owner. My very first gun it is the Springfield Armory XD Mod 2 9mm. It's the 4-inch barrel. I got it in June, and it took me 2 months to actually shoot it because I could not find a place to actually shoot it. A month before that, I actually went to a training class just to learn the basics. I didn't get the chance to shoot my gun. I actually shot a 22 pistol. But the main thing about the pistol, I finally got the shot. Recoil is very nice. I only shot about 44 rounds.
Okay.
Just like regular full metal jacket.
Right. Do you, the Springfield Armory XD Mod 2 is a really nice pistol. It shoots really nicely. Do you have access to maybe a shooting instructor in your area or a class you can go to?
No, not right now. I would have to wait till like the fall because the local sheriff's department they are offering some classes, but I would have to wait until fall. There was one a couple months ago during like the earlier part of the year, but the stipulation was you had to bring your own gun, and I didn't have my own gun.
You didn't have your gun yet. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, I would say go ahead and sign up for those classes so that you'll be ready, and that way you don't miss out on that. And just, if you would, just keep taking classes, keep shooting, and enjoying, be safe, but also, of course, have some kind of a way to keep that gun safe when it's in your home. You got to make sure that nobody else can get access to your gun. Look, I appreciate the call, and good luck with your first gun. That's a very nice, good gun, by the way. We were just at the range, I say just at the range, a week and a half ago, shooting some of the Springfield Armory guns and just having a ball. Not XDM, thinking of. The XDS single stack is a really terrific carry gun, but they also have and it's almost not right to say it this way, it's a shrunken down, somewhat miniaturized 1911, but it's hardly any smaller, but it's just teeny tiny bit smaller because it's built around the 9mm round instead of the 45. And it's called the EMP. I think they call it Enhanced Micro Pistol. The EMP. And it's chambered for the 9 and the 40. And if you like a 1911 style pistol, this is delightful. It shoots really accurately, and I like it in the 9. And you can get it with I think it's a 4-inch barrel. It's a long enough grip. You have 9 rounds in the mag, so it's 9 plus 1. So you're carrying 10 rounds of 9 in a 1911 style, and they're stupid accurate and shoot really nicely and comfortably and all of that. So, and everybody you put it in their hands, they go, wow, that's nice. Yeah, just the way it feels, it's thinner. It's really interesting how just a little bit thinner can feel so good in your hands. What gun do you have that fits your hand right, that feels just really good when you pick it up, where you pick it up and you go, wow, that really feels good? Just give me a quick call, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll see if we can get a few of you in here. But which gun do you just pick up and you go, man, I love that gun? here. This is interesting. Arizona Attorney General offers an opinion. Somebody asked him for an opinion on this. He says guns are allowed at private schools. Interesting. Senator Steve Yarborough from Chandler requested the legal opinion several months ago. He got his answer late Friday, according to this. Hold on a second. Oh, had to cough. Sorry about that. The Attorney General, Mark Brunovich, said state and federal law do not prevent an individual with an Arizona concealed carry weapons permit from carrying a concealed gun on private school grounds in Arizona. They also do not prevent schools from having guns secured on campus for use by trained employees who are not police officers or as part of a school-approved program. Interesting. Okay. It's line one. Justin's with us out of Great Falls, Montana. Hey, Justin, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is a kind of a range report and a little bit of a question along with it. I bought a 5.56 AR build from a company called Prestolor Arms out of Odessa, Florida. And this gun was kind of a collaboration with another company, a training company called Progressive Force Concepts out of Vegas. Basically, for PFC, they do military and law enforcement training, some civilian training too. And they asked Prestolor, they said, hey, this is the perfect gun that we want for the perfect defensive carbine that we want. Here's everything we want on it. Picked out all the bits and pieces, PWS muzzle device, guidely trigger, some Magpul parts, put together this rifle, and then started selling it on the market. And I bought one last year, love it, great rifle, real light, real simple. Just wanted to know kind of what your opinion is on these smaller companies.
They're kind of like what you're saying. Justin,
sorry.
What you're getting, Justin, no, let me jump in. It's just what you're saying. You got some of these smaller companies who are producing boutique versions of the AR, which is great because they're using good components because you can just buy all these components. I mean, you could have built that gun yourself. You just buy a lower and start from there, but somebody else does it for you. You said something here that was very interesting. You said it was light. Tell me about that because I am really moving toward the lightest ARs I can find.
I don't know the exact weight on it, but this thing is just really, really simple. It's got a CTR stock on it for Magpul, Bravo Company grip, just a real light, the key mod rail, and they actually put a light on it for you too. It's a Elzetta Mini CQB light. And this gun is it's really light and simple. There's not a lot of bells and whistles on it, in my opinion.
See, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a simple, lightweight AR that I can stick a light on, probably going to stick a laser on it. I'm probably going to go with a fixed stock, not an adjustable stock, the shorter version of it. And as a home defense gun, I want simple, and fewer things on it that can break. And I want it lightweight because you can go out and shoot it a lot. When you go to a 5-day gunfighting school with an AR, you hold that son of a gun up a lot. So that's cool. Justin, thank you for that range report. Prestolor Arms. Neat. Yeah, there are several companies doing that. I know Tiger McKee has been working on that. He calls his rifle the Katana, and there are some others doing the same thing. And if you wanted to, you could obviously go to the Brownells website. They have the AR-15 Builder project there, and basically just keep clicking and order all the parts, and then it comes to you and you get to put it all together. It's a neat concept. It really is. Tell you what, if you're going to be going out and doing some shooting this week, invite somebody to go with you and assure them that it's safe, make it fun, make sure that everybody has eye and ear protection. You can build more supporters for gun rights by taking more people to the range, especially people that hadn't been out there before. So be sure to do that. Oh yeah, if you're not shooting enough, shame on you. Get to the range. See you next week.